Coming up on First at 4, charges are dropped nearly 4 years after a Southern Kentucky man was accused of killing his stepson. Why he's now a free man. Plus, the Harris campaign is hoping for a bounce after next week's Democratic National Convention. We'll have a look at the big names set to speak at the event.
And a first alert weather day has been declared for Saturday as line of showers and thunderstorms will push through. Details in a few minutes.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, thunderstorms are popping up across the region this afternoon. We have one above us in Hazard right now. Some are leading to minor flooding concerns. More storms are expected for the first part of the weekend. That's why it's a first alert weather day. Meteorologist Eric Dean joins us now with the latest. Eric.
That's right. We do have a first alert weather day out for Saturday as a line of showers and thunderstorms will push through. And right now we're seeing a line of showers and thunderstorms on live pinpoint Doppler radar. We'll go ahead and pinpoint a couple of locations just to the south of Hazard over towards the Harlan area, Middlesboro area, seeing some heavy rain and thunderstorm activity at this hour. Again, these are just your general run-of-the-mill summertime thunderstorms that's pushing through, seeing a little bit of heavy wind and some lightning being picked up. In terms of hail at this time, not seeing anything on the hail tracker pretty much until you get to about north of Middlesboro, south of Williamsburg area, seeing a little bit of hail at this time. That's just been over within the past 2 or 3 hours. But right now we're seeing temperatures in the 60s and 70s where it's rained. 71 in London, 70 Williamsburg. You see where it's not rained much. Jackson at 76, 81 Moorhead, 78 in Prestonsburg. So we'll be keeping an eye on the radar as we go throughout the next several minutes. Again, first alert weather day is out for Saturday as line of showers and thunderstorms will be pushing through. We'll time everything out with Future View in the first alert forecast coming up in a few minutes. Steve.
All right, Eric, thank you. A former Southern Kentucky murder suspect is out of jail and free from prosecution on those charges. The case goes back 4 years to August of 2020 when a man was accused of killing his stepson. Now a judge says it's self-defense. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on what took place.
In an 8-page order from the judge, James Thomas Morgan is essentially a free man. He is free from prosecution. He has immunity on the murder charge in the death of his stepson, Matthew Tosh. The deadly shooting happened in late August 2020 when police said that 56-year-old James Thomas Morgan shot and killed his stepson, 31-year-old Matthew Tosh, following an argument. It happened at a home in the Loveless subdivision near London. The case has been heavily litigated since then, and in February of this year, a hearing was held to consider a dismissal of the indictment based on grounds of self-defense. Morgan claimed the force he used against Tosh was justified because it was necessary to protect himself. The court agreed, and on Thursday evening, Morgan was granted immunity and he was released from jail. Commonwealth's attorney Jackie Steele says this was a close call, and he says now they have to respect the judge's decision. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
We also spoke by phone today to Matthew Tosh's mother, who says the order to release Morgan was, quote, full of lies, and that she still believes her ex-husband murdered her son. A man who was hit and killed in a crash in Laurel County this morning has been identified. According to the Laurel County Sheriff's Office, the victim is 47-year-old James Zio of Corbin. The crash happened early this morning on I-75 South at the 29-mile marker. The coroner says Zio was trying to walk across the interstate when he was hit and killed. We do not know if the driver will be charged. That stretch of interstate was closed for a while this morning during that investigation. And one person is dead following a 2-vehicle crash this afternoon in Harlan County. At approximately 1:30, KSP troopers received a call about the crash, which happened at the intersection of Mosley Lane on US 119 in the Ross Point community. According to KSP troopers, traffic has been rerouted to go through Highway 413, and there's some heavy rain in that area too as well. The victim has not yet been identified. We hope to have new information about this crash later tonight. The Democratic National Convention kicks off next week. WYMT White House correspondent John Decker has a preview.
Democrats have been energized since Vice President Kamala Harris became the Democratic presidential nominee. At the DNC in Chicago, the Harris campaign hoping for a post-convention boost and a unified Democratic Party. Opening night of the convention will feature a primetime address by President Biden, in which he'll tout his legislative accomplishments during his 3.5 years in office, touching on why he picked Harris to take his place on the ballot.
I do think that he will probably lean into that passing the torch message, and especially because he was able to so successfully anoint his own vice president, Kamala Harris, someone that he picked back in 2020 as the next nominee.
Chicago's own former President Barack Obama tapped as the featured speaker for Tuesday night. He's hoping that Harris can replicate the coalition of racial minorities, women, and young voters that helped elect him president twice.
There are a lot of similarities, of course, but ultimately, I think Harris's most successful coalition is going to resemble Biden's 2020 coalition a lot more than it did Obama's coalition in 2008.
Wednesday night, former President Bill Clinton is set to introduce Harris's vice presidential running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Most voters are not familiar with Walz, and this primetime speech will introduce him to the public. Thursday, the final night of the DNC, culminates in Vice President Harris's acceptance speech, spelling out how she will govern if she wins in November.
This is the thing that, if there's been anything lacking from Harris's rollout so far, it's that she hasn't really nailed down specifics of what she's going to do as president beyond defeating Trump and ensuring freedom, reproductive health, and a few other kind of big ticket items. She hasn't really talked about what her more specific goals are as president, both foreign and domestic.
Democrats hope to get a bounce in battleground state polling after 4 days of this political pep rally. They're also hoping to keep the momentum going on the fundraising front as both campaigns gear up for the final stretch of the election. At the White House, I'm John Decker.
Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is opening a new office. His old one caught fire last year. He cut the ribbon on the new building in Bowling Green yesterday. Paul says his biggest focus will be working with veterans. He also talked about the upcoming election.
So my main goal as we get closer to the election is to talk about how we should have balanced budgets, about how we should spend only what comes in, and that that's secure for inflation, and that if we don't, that there are bad things that could face us as a country. And this is for both parties. Frankly, both Republicans and Democrats have done a miserable job at controlling spending.
Paul says his new office will be a one-stop shop for federal government help. Coming up on First at 4, Olympic gymnast Jordan Childs is vowing to get justice after being stripped of a bronze medal. A look at the controversy surrounding the call.
And a chance of showers and thunderstorms continue for the day on Saturday. We'll dissect that on the other side of the break. Stay with us.